The Baltimore Ravens get absolutely dominated at home on prime time TV by the Cincinnati Bengals. Who saw this coming? Well, maybe we could have. We discuss next. Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to The Bald Perspective. Let's talk. On your way in the door, do me a quick favor. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and touch the subscribe if you've never subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you get updates when we upload new content. The Baltimore Ravens get blown out at home. And to be honest, it really wasn't as close as even the scoreboard says. We got dominated in every facet of this game. The Bengals offense was better than our defense. The Bengals defense was better than our offense. The Bengals quarterback was better than our quarterback. The Bengals wide receivers were better than our wide receivers. And it looks like the Bengals coverage was better than our coverage. The Bengals pass rush was better than our pass rush. And what does that equal? A behind whooping. And that's exactly what we got yesterday. You see, I have come to the table on many post games and talked about how John Harbaugh didn't have his team ready. And that may have been the case yesterday. I've come to the table and talked about how Todd Monken called a bad game. And that was the case yesterday as the Ravens aborted the run. We'll talk about that in detail in a minute. I've come to the table and talked about how Zach Orr and the defense had a bad scheme, bad execution. That was the case yesterday as well. What does that equal? Yeah, you know it, a behind whooping. Let's talk about this Baltimore Ravens offense. Many people came into this game with the perspective that the Bengals defense was the worst in the league, and it should be a game that the Baltimore Ravens offense should be able to take advantage of. But we did no such thing. But I remember making a point to you guys, and I said the Bengals defense, worst in the league, but our offensive line was at the bottom of the league as well. So bad on bad, so someone has to rise up. And the Bengals defensive front rose and dominated everything we did offensively. In fact, we could just simply say the offense was offensive because it absolutely was. Let's go through a few numbers. Lamar Jackson, basically 2 strip sack fumbles. No matter how they turned out, that's what they became. Another interception. So 3 turnovers linked to Lamar Jackson. Isaiah Likely, 45-yard catch and run, and then going into the end zone, he gets the ball knocked out. Touchback, no points. Zay Flowers catches a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown. But you know why these things happen? Because we were not ready to play. We are a poor executing team. And when an offense is struggling, we need some of these plays to be completed. And then Zay Flowers has a 1-yard catch, gets the ball knocked out, another turnover. You see, in truth, there are some plays we've always needed to take out of our playbook. Some things just don't work. Those wide receiver screens, they don't work. Those end arounds, they don't really work. Those long developing pass routes, they don't really work. Especially when the players on the field, not the play caller, I'm talking about what's actually happening on the field. See, because at some point, no matter what's called, you need to go out and be able to execute. Ronnie Stanley, he can no longer hold an edge. Andrew Voorhees, he must think that laying down on the ground is the way you protect the passer. Tyler Linderbaum, I don't know if he's lost strength this year, but he's consistently getting pushed into the backfield. Daniel Falele, don't really know which way he's going sometimes. And Roger Rosengarten seems like he should have been a 5th-round pick last year versus a 2nd-round pick. The only guy that played well offensively yesterday was Derrick Henry. He had 100+ yards from the line of scrimmage, and that's simply because he was minimized by that because he didn't get enough touches. Lamar Jackson is off, and I got another video. It won't come out today. It'll probably come out tomorrow, where I'm going to talk exclusively about Lamar Jackson. And you guys won't like it, but that's okay. And see, because we've understood that this offense has been struggling. No touchdowns by Lamar Jackson in 3 games. I don't remember scoring over 25 points in the last 4. Maybe we scored 25 plus against Miami, but at this point, it don't really matter. The truth is, we're not a good offense. And I can tell you another truth. We're not a good defense. The Bengals have 1 star receiver, and he dominated, did exactly what he wanted to do. And all the supplemental parts, because of that gravitational pull, that force that Jamar Chase is, all the other parts got off yesterday. Joe Burrow looked like, after that first quarter, maybe the first quarter and a half, looked like he hadn't missed a game of football all season. But I told you that is what was going to happen. I said, he's going to come out, he's going to be rusty. I said, but it won't take him but a quarter or 2 to find his rhythm. And once he found his rhythm, there was nothing the Baltimore Ravens defense could do. Primarily because we don't have a pass rush. I said as much after the Draymond Jones trade. I said we got something. But what that something was remained to be seen. This pass rush is the worst in the league. I don't care what the statistics say. The statistics may support that, but I'm saying what I'm watching on live game action, I don't care about rewind. I don't care about stop and start. I don't care about film study. What I'm seeing in live game action, this pass rush is the worst in the league. We absolutely don't get home. And what used to be a weakness for the Cincinnati Bengals has now become a strength. They stonewalled everything we tried to do with the exception of 1 Marlon Humphrey blitz. That's it. Everything else, Joe Burrow was clean. And when he did get a little bit of pressure, he just moved around. He just eased around in the pocket. It looked so easy when you watched Joe Burrow in the pocket and when you watched Lamar Jackson in the pocket. It looked so much more easy. But why? Why? Organizationally, what did they say? We're going to invest in our quarterback, who is the cornerstone for the franchise. They invested in Joe Burrow. They signed Jamar Chase. They kept T. Higgins. They went out and brought in Orlando Brown a couple of seasons ago, a 6'8", 4-time Pro Bowler at left tackle. They drafted Amarius Mims, a 6'8" guy who is playing very well. They brought in some vets to put in the middle. And they stoned everything we tried to do yesterday. Blitz didn't get there. But when you look at what they could do, when you look at how they blitzed, it was as if when they blitzed, it got there every time. And maybe it didn't bring Lamar Jackson down every time, but he was consistently on the run, trying to escape, getting the ball out of his hands. And that's a question. Why does it seem like the Baltimore Ravens can't pick up a blitz? Are we just dumb across the line of scrimmage? Do we just have a dumb scheme? See, that's what I have to call it at this point. Because once teams learned, hey, just blitz Lamar Jackson, They just bring the blitz, bring the blitz, bring the blitz. Sometimes they get home, sometimes they make contact, and as of yesterday, sometimes they get strip sack fumbles. That was bad football yesterday. That was bad football yesterday. And what's frustrating about the Ravens, they can't pick which poison they want to use. After Derrick Henry carried the ball for that 28-yard touchdown, which I think was his fourth or fifth carry in the game, give or take, after Keaton Mitchell went around the end, so to speak, and went for a touchdown. You tell me why Rashawn Ali had more carries than Keaton Mitchell. It's like we don't know what we're doing holistically. The players don't look like they know what they're doing. The coaches don't look like they can scheme up anything. And the conclusion is we're just a bad team. It doesn't really matter at this point if we win the AFC North. It doesn't really matter at this point if we get into the playoffs. We've been a bad team all season. That's when the defense was very, very poor. And they have played better, but they haven't played it. Can we tell the truth? I know I'm all over the place right now, but these are just thoughts that's just coming off the top of the head. Can we tell the truth? This Baltimore Ravens defense has played better, but in no way, shape, or form have they been elite. The only way we've won games against Chicago, Miami, Minnesota, and the Jets and the Browns has been we've gotten some turnovers. Got a question. We got one turnover yesterday. What do we do with it? I asked you guys a couple of weeks ago, could the Baltimore Ravens still win if they didn't get turnovers? The answer is a resounding no. The Baltimore Ravens cannot win if they don't get turnovers. This offense is bad. The offensive line is bad. The quarterback play right now is bad. The wide receiver play is bad. Nobody can really get open. And then when they do, they can't make the catch. They dropping it on the ground. They fumbling it away. The tight ends did okay. I said in the yesterday video early morning, I said this will be an Isaiah Likely game. He had, I think, 4 catches or something like that for 95 yards, but he couldn't complete the play. So he might as well just had 3 catches and 50 yards. I'm sick of this organization. I'm sick of this team. I'm sick of this inconsistency. I'm sick of the lack of execution. I'm sick of making excuses. I'm no longer going to cover Lamar Jackson when he plays bad. I'm going to tell the truth, and that's what we're going to begin to do tomorrow. I've always told the truth, and people have tried to come for me when I talk about Lamar Jackson when I say he didn't play well. But at some point, we just have to say what it is. At some point, we have to not just point at John Harbaugh, not just point at Todd Monken, not just point at Zach Orr, not just point at the offensive line, not just point at lack of pass rush, not just point at injuries. And sometimes we have to just call it what it is. You see, I told you guys on last week, I said it may be beneficial to sit Lamar Jackson. Now, I thought he looked better mobility-wise yesterday. I thought he moved around and escaped the rush better. But by no way was he good. You see, if this is what we were going to get, I've said this. If this is what we were going to get, we could have got this with Tyler Huntley and allowed Lamar Jackson to get even healthier, because that seems to be the question this morning. How many injuries is he really dealing with? And how is it hampering his accuracy? How is it hampering his mobility? How is it hampering his play-to-play decision making? Because an injury can do that for sure. But we can no longer make excuses for this team. It's a bad team. It doesn't really matter to me if we make the playoffs or not. It doesn't matter if we make win the AFC North. You know why? Because the way that we're playing, we'll get destroyed. You see, the reason why we have really won these past games, because we've been playing less than stellar quarterbacks. Joe Burrow stepped back under center yesterday and looked like he had not missed a game after that first quarter. The opportunity that the Baltimore Ravens had yesterday was to manage Jamar Chase, especially with no T. Higgins. It was to limit Joe Burrow's options and get after Joe Burrow, and we did none of that. And when he stayed clean, he was dealing. It's absolutely remarkable how a quarterback can step back in after missing 9 games of a season, catch a rhythm, and ball. And then when Joe Burrow got going, every other aspect of the offense got going: the running back, the tight ends, and the other supplemental wide receivers. That was just a bad performance all around by the Baltimore Ravens from top down. But this is not a game that I can really put on John Harbaugh other than the Baltimore Ravens not being ready to play. But at some point, we have to look from the sideline and look what's actually happening on the field. And what's happening on the field is garbage. I got some more coming for you guys either late this evening or tomorrow morning, but you're going to want to tune in for that. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, notification. I'm out.